while you guys sit there as comfortably as you possibly can, I want you to listen to this whole entire review because I got a lot of things to get off my chest after watching this roller coaster of a show. I mean, I'm going to take that back. This wasn't really a roller coaster because like 90% of the show was just straight up butt cheeks. But damn, dude, the last few minutes of the show, the last promo of the show might have actually been the best promo in all of 2025. Period. Now, obviously, we're going to get to that later in the review. For now, let's talk about SmackDown. Let's review Friday Night SmackDown, the best wrestling show of the week. Let's not waste time. Let's get right into it. So the show kicks off with LA Knight. Yeah! So LA Knight talks about how Seth won the Money in the Bank briefcase only because of Bronson and Bronson Reed. Dude, I'm never going to get these Brons right, dude. These Brons are too confusing, man. They're way too confusing. Why did we have to do Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker in the same faction? Couldn't we have done like Braun Breaker and Omos or something? I don't know. Like, come on, man. This is too confusing. But anyways, yeah, you guys know who. Seth Rollins' henchman cost LA Knight the match at Money in the Bank, in the ladder match. And, because of that, he wanted to get his lick back. LA Knight wanted to get his lick back. So he cost Braun Breaker the match at King of the Ring, the first round of King of the Ring. Wow, dude, I'm messing it up a lot. I'm like doing Michael Cole levels of botching names right now. So anyways, yeah, LA Knight did that, but then, they cost LA Knight the match last week on SmackDown in the Fatal 4-Way, so, LA Knight decided to get his lick back again by costing Bronson Reed the match last Monday, or, this past Monday. Oh my god, dude, I don't know, man. You guys get the point. Let's just move on. So obviously, LA Knight's got some kind of a beef with Seth Rollins. So he says, Seth Rollins, come on out here right now and let's settle our business. But I mean, I think it's kind of crazy that LA Knight did this because like LA Knight is a SmackDown superstar that is expecting Seth Rollins, our Raw superstar, to be on SmackDown. Like, what? Yeah, anyways, whatever, man. And then we just hear, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the wise man to Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth freaking Rollins. And I am here because Seth freaking Rollins sent me to deliver a message from Seth freaking... Oh my god, we get it, Paul. We get it. This whole promo from Paul Heyman was just beating around the bush, and he repeated the word Seth freaking Rollins like 1,000,000 times. Oh my god, dude, this promo was horrible. Paul Heyman has just lost it, dude. This guy's just not good on the mic anymore. Let's just face the facts. The last time this guy had a good promo was like God knows how long ago. And you want to know why? It's because Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman have zero chemistry. I am not feeling it, guys. I am sorry, all right? I am sorry to all of you Seth Rollins glazers out there that are swearing that this is amazing, saying this is peak and all that stuff. No, it's not. It sucks, all right? This sucks. Seth Rollins is clearly not fit to be a Paul Heyman guy, and I mean that in the best way possible because I love Seth Rollins, I'm not saying this like it's a dig or whatever. I'm not trying to diss Seth Rollins whatsoever, but it's a plain simple fact that he's not Paul Heyman guy material. When Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns joined forces in 2020, do you think I even thought for a second, like, oh my god, this is so weird. I'm so used to seeing Paul Heyman with Brock Lesnar. Seeing it with Roman Reigns is so weird. Oh my god. Do you think I even thought that for a second? Absolutely not. Since the very first second, I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is peak. This is cinema. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, they are so good together. This is a partnership I didn't know I needed. That's what I felt like. But with Seth Rollins, it feels like he's still with Roman Reigns. It feels like Paul Heyman is still with Roman Reigns. He's still the wise man to the tribal chief, but he's now just, doing this short-term gig with Seth Rollins just cause, just cause. It doesn't feel like a long-term thing. I'm not feeling like it's going to be a long-term thing at all. Because these two have zero chemistry. And you want to know why? It's because they never interact. Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins never interact. And I kind of get it because Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman did kind of have that kind of dynamic, where Paul Heyman wouldn't talk back to Roman Reigns. He would just talk when Roman Reigns would give him the chance to talk. That was kind of what it was like. But it doesn't work that same way with Seth Rollins. You're trying to control C Roman Reigns and control V with Seth Rollins. It doesn't work that way because Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are two completely different people. Two completely different types of characters. Roman Reigns was this big bad, he's got all this aura. He's like this Thanos type of villain, He just had that boss villain aura, So obviously it made sense for him to have that kind of a dynamic with Paul Heyman. But with Seth Rollins on the other hand, Seth Rollins is not a Roman Reigns level threat, Let's just get that out of the way. That's a plain simple fact. You cannot argue against that. Seth Rollins is not as big of a threat as, Roman Reigns was. So to see Paul Heyman treating Seth Rollins like he was treating his tribal chief, it's just stupid, man. It makes no sense, and it absolutely ruins the chemistry and dynamic between these two. I think Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman should have more of a, CM Punk and Paul Heyman type of dynamic, where, they're more like, best friends rather than, a wise man and tribal chief. So yeah, everything surrounding, Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and all those guys, it's just, very artificial, very inorganic. I'm not feeling a thing these guys do. So yeah, everything about this just sucks. But at least LA Knight is getting some kind of an exposure, I guess. So Paul Heyman says, LA Knight, I'm a big fan of you. I love you. LA Knight, yeah. He says that, Paul Heyman does the yeah. And then he says, which is why I'm warning you, you got to get out of this building before, something bad happens to you tonight, or, something like that. And then LA Knight says, well, that means Seth Rollins is not here tonight because I asked for Seth Rollins, but I got Paul Heyman. So instead of that, why not Paul Heyman and LA Knight fight in this ring right now? So LA Knight turns around and, he says, Paul Heyman, like, give me your first blow or something like that. Whoa, all right, pause. But yeah, you get the point. LA Knight turns around and says, Paul, I'm going to let you get the first shot. And Paul Heyman, obviously, he bitches out of the ring. And obviously, this is just a waste of time because it's like, whatever, who cares about this? This rivalry sucks ass, dude. It absolutely sucks. And you want to know why? Again, they're trying to go the same format as Roman. Everything they got, with a bloodline and all that stuff, just because that was successful, they're trying to copy the same template with everything. They're trying to do it with the Timu bloodline, with, Jacob Fatu turning on Sakoa, and now they're using it for Seth Rollins and his faction. Obviously, Roman Reigns wasn't showing up for a lot of the times, and, you had Paul Heyman and the Usos building up the feuds for him, and now they're trying to do the same thing. But it doesn't work because we don't feel a team chemistry, alright? We've not seen anything between Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, and I'm never gonna get this right, dude. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman. We've not seen anything between these guys. We've not seen anything. Why is Bronson Reed with Seth Rollins now? Why is Braun Breaker with Seth Rollins now? Well, the explanation we got was so, like, nothing. It was such a short explanation for such a big thing. Like, come on, man. Let us feel the team chemistry. Like, why are these guys a thing? Why did this come to be? Like, let us know more of that. Let us actually feel the team connection so that we can actually care about them as a unit. But now, I don't care about them as a unit, so I don't care when Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are fighting Seth Rollins' battles for him, because I don't feel their connection with Seth Rollins whatsoever. With Roman, on the other hand, we had such a long story with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso in the beginning of the run, 2020, late 2020, and a little bit of 2021 as well, early 2021. We had a lot of storytelling with Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, where it was like there was a story there. There's a reason why they came to be. There's a reason why the bloodline happened. So we could feel something. There was something about the team. There was that connection that we could feel. With this, there's nothing. So it absolutely sucks that this feud, it's just a one-sided beef because LA Knight hasn't even interacted with Seth Rollins. WWE thinks they can go with the same format as Roman Reigns' feuds, but they cannot. It's gonna fail. This feud is not gonna be good. Keep that in mind. But anyways, yeah, LA Knight gets jumped from the back from, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. But, LA Knight still stands tall somehow with a steel chair and all that stuff. And that's it for the opener, guys. What a terrible opener for SmackDown. Wow. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we get the Queen of the Ring semifinals. Asuka versus Alexa Bliss. There's not really much to talk about here, and I don't mean that in a bad way whatsoever, It's just that there was really nothing crazy in this match. Again, I don't mean that in the bad way whatsoever. I do think this was one of the high points on the show. And obviously, as expected, in a pretty decent match, Asuka wins and she moves on to the finals of the Queen of the Ring. Wow, let's just move on. Anyways, then we were supposed to get Malachi Black versus Kit Wilson, but we didn't get that because during Aleister Black's entrance, we see R-Truth or Ron Killings, and he attacks Kit Wilson. So yeah, I mean, it's whatever, I guess they're trying to tell the story of, R-Truth or Ron Killings crashing out over everything and, demanding respect and all that stuff. He's taking out his anger on everything now. So yeah, it's whatever, It's not anything crazy. This was just a whatever part of the show. I don't think the show would have changed at all if this wasn't even on the show, So yeah, this changed nothing. This contributed to nothing. Wow, let's just move on. We gotta talk about this, man. This was probably the worst segment of 2025. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. So we see Cody Rhodes obviously making his entrance, with adrenaline in my soul, every part out of control. Wow, and all that stuff, And then he picks up the mic and he goes, oh, what do you want? Oh, stars. Jay. Main event Jay Uso now in your city. Oh, it's just me, Uso. Day one is just me, Uso. Day one is just me, Uso. Day one is Shere, line them all up, lock them down like this. Yeah. Let's go, Uso. I'm probably making Rikishi proud right now. Anyways, yeah, Jay so gets in the ring and he goes, one more time for the one time. Hit my music. Oh yeah. 4 letters, 1 word. Yeah. It's just me, Uso. Day one, it's just me, Uso. Day one, it's just me, Uso. Day one, it's Jay, let him all. And the whole time, Cody Rhodes is just standing there like, oh, hey, Jay. Wow, this is cool. This is nice. Yeah, everyone's eating. Wow, this is awesome. And he's just standing there, not saying anything. He has a mic in his hand. He has a microphone in his hand, mind you, but he doesn't say anything. So yeah, he's just standing there. And then Jey Uso picks up the mic, unfortunately, and he says, Cody Rhodes, I love you, Uso. You my brother, Uso. Yay. I love you, Uso. Yay. But, Uso. Yay. This Monday, Uso. Yay. It's gonna be either me or you, Uso. Yay. We both finish our stories, Uso, at WrestleMania, Uso. Yay, and now I'm gonna finish my story again, Uso, but I'm gonna beat you, Uso. Yay, and this Monday, you're gonna hear 4 letters, 1 word, yay! And yeah, that's it for Jey Uso's promo. And then Sami Zayn gets in the ring, his music hits and all that stuff. And then he says, Jay, Cody, I love both of you guys. Both of you guys are my brothers. When Cody Rhodes won the WWE Championship and finished the story at WrestleMania, I was the first man to congratulate him. When Jay won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, I was the first man to congratulate him. But I have never won a World Championship, guys. I'm the only loser in this ring. I'm the only cuck in this ring that's never won the World Championship. Look at me, guys. Oh my god, I suck so bad. So yeah, Sami Zayn was pretty much just telling on himself this entire promo. And he was like, but I am going to win. I am going to beat Randy Orton. I am going to become king of the ring. And then we hear, I hear voices in my head. And then obviously Randy Orton gets in the ring and he's like, Cody, I told you last week, Cody, but I'm going to tell you again, Cody. I don't care if I gotta beat you to get to John Cena, Cody. And then he goes to Jey Uso and he says, Uso, I respect the hell out of you, Uso. Our families go way back, Uso. But if you stand in my way, it's not going to be 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. It's going to be 3 letters, 1 move, RKO. That was a pretty good line, I'm not going to lie. And then he goes to Sami Zayn and he's like, oh, I'm going to beat you because, you are a future world champion. But at SummerSlam is not going to be that night because I'm going to beat you tonight. And then Randy Orton drops the mic and, the match just starts. Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. And the whole time, here's the thing. The whole time, Cody Rhodes is just standing there with the microphone in his hand, not saying anything. He's not saying anything. This dude's like the face of the company, and he's coming out here on Friday Night SmackDown, and he's not saying anything. He's just standing there for 10 minutes. What the hell was this, man? Who booked this? Who the hell booked this? He just had this guy just stand there and do nothing. Wow, dude. That was crazy. This guy was just happy to be there. And that's not it. That's only Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes was doing nothing, but what were the other guys doing? The other guys were just having a yap sesh where basically they were jerking each other off. It was just like, oh my god, I love you. I have so much respect for you. We go way back, but I am still going to beat you. Like, come on, man. Everybody says the same thing. Jey Uso, Sami Zayn was like, oh, I need to finish my story. Stop it, man. I don't want to hear any more finishing stories, all right? Let's just put an end to this whole finish the story thingy, alright? I've had enough of it. Cody Rhodes was the guy that said finish the story, alright? That was his thing, and now he finished the story, so let's bury that. It's done. I don't want to see anybody else talking about finishing the story, because everybody, man, when they're in a promo with Cody Rhodes, they talk about how, like, oh, I need to finish my story. I need to finish my story. Like, stop, man. It's not your gimmick. This is gimmick infringement. Just find your own thing. So anyways, yeah, this whole segment was just a yap sesh. 3 grown-ass men yapping about how much they respect the other men, and Cody Rhodes was just standing there watching. Yeah, that's right, he was just watching. He had a microphone in his hand, but he decided not to say anything. That makes no sense whatsoever. And here's the thing, guys. Here's something that I've been observing for the past month or so. Cody Rhodes, I think he's not happy with his booking, man. Every single time he's on TV, he looks so unhappy. He looks so checked out. He doesn't look like the good old Cody Rhodes, Like, no, none of that excitement, none of that, And it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because the whole title reign was just, horrible, or maybe mid or something like that. Even before that, man, his booking, even before he won the championship, was not good. He was feuding with Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, come on. All right, even after he won the championship, he had, that god-awful feud with the Bloodline, and, he was basically the side character in the Bloodline story, and then after that, what do? He did that feud with Kevin Owens, which was dragged out for so long, because obviously we had to do a lot of the filler stuff in between with Gunther for the Crown Jewel Championship and all that stuff, and obviously then we got the John Cena feud, which was, how. It was not good, and the WrestleMania match was just terrible, and it kind of killed Cody Rhodes' character, They had him lose to Travis Scott's, shenanigans. That was kind of terrible, so yeah, I get why Cody Rhodes is, unhappy with his booking, if that's the case. I think that's the case with how Cody Rhodes has been on the shows for the past, month or so. He's so, unhappy with what he's doing. He doesn't seem, excited. He doesn't seem excited to cut a promo. He's always kind of, just upset, He just looks so upset. Again, I'm just talking out of my ass here, These are just assumptions. I don't know for sure. But if we see the same kind of Cody Rhodes next week, all checked out and stuff, maybe I'm onto something here. I don't know, man. It's just me. Let me know in the comments below. Am I the only one that thinks Cody Rhodes has been looking kind of upset lately? I don't know, man. Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that was it for this segment. Absolutely horrible, and but at the same time hilarious because of how horrible it was. Cody Rhodes didn't say a single word, and Jey Uso was just wasting time yeeting, and said absolutely nothing. And everybody, dude, all three guys were just glazing each other and jerking each other off, and that was pretty much it. So yeah, wow, let's just move on. Anyways, then we get Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn, the King of the Ring semifinals, and I got a lot of things to get off my chest here, so I'm going to talk about it right now. This match, was it a good match? Absolutely, 100%. Sami Zayn and Randy Orton, obviously both great wrestlers. Obviously, they're going to put on a great match, but why did Randy Orton win this match, dude? Randy Orton did not need this win, because here's the thing. Now we're going to be getting Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes as the finals at King of the Ring. Because let's be honest, Jey Uso is not beating Cody Rhodes. So yeah, that's going to be our finals, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, King of the Ring. While that does sound cool on paper, let me just put it to you guys this way, alright? Randy Orton is obviously not winning King of the Ring, because if he did, he'd be facing John Cena at SummerSlam, which is obviously not happening. They already did the match at Backlash. So obviously, Cody Rhodes is going to be winning King of the Ring, which is that's so come on, man. It's this guy pinned John Cena at Money in the Bank. That should be enough. That's plenty to get a world title shot, to get a shot at John Cena. You could have used the King of the Ring to build up someone else, like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was a perfect guy for King of the Ring, man. I don't care what anybody says. Sami Zayn was the perfect guy, and, having him lose to Randy Orton was a bad decision. Because like I said, now, obviously, Cody Rhodes is going to be beating Randy Orton, and, it's going to be whatever, Cody Rhodes won King of the Ring. Yay, whatever, who cares? This guy could have, gotten the title opportunity if he just asked for it. He's, Cody Rhodes. He's the face of the company. He doesn't need all this. He pinned John Cena. He can get a title shot easily. He doesn't need the King of the Ring, man. But anyways, even then, all right, we're talking about Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. This is a dream match. This is a dream feud that people have been talking about for so long. And now, when we're finally getting it, it's not even going to be a proper feud. It's not even going to be a proper, well-built rivalry. It's just going to be a one-off King of the Ring match with, probably one promo to build up to it. Get out of here, man. No. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes should have been saved for a big time rivalry. Not the King of the Ring finals where you can only build it up with one promo. This is not AEW with the Owen Hart Foundation tournament where you can actually build it up with a lot of promos and stuff like that. Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page actually had 3 or 4 promos together, maybe 3, I don't know. And they even had a tag match together and all that stuff. They can't do that with Cody and Randy because they can possibly do one promo with them together on SmackDown next week. That's all they can do. They can't do anything else. And you're telling me that we're wasting Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, which is the biggest match possible for both these guys right now. We're just wasting it as a one-off here. Come on, man. It just sucks. And let's talk about this match itself, how Randy Orton beat Sami Zayn. Randy Orton hit Sami Zayn with an RKO out of nowhere. Pretty good. And then, Randy Orton's on, he's down as well. Randy Orton's down. And then, he takes his time to, cover Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn still doesn't kick out. It makes no sense in kayfabe. Because Sami Zayn is the same guy that beat Gunther at WrestleMania, And he got hit with 4 power bombs? And 1 splash, 1 rear naked choke, 1 of everything. And he kicked out of all of that. And even when they faced each other on Raw, Sami Zayn kicked out of 1 or maybe even 2 power bombs at 1. He kicked out of 1. And now you're telling me that he can't kick out of 1 RKO? Get out of here, man. Now, I know some of you are going to say, oh, those were title matches, though. The adrenaline in those matches helped him kick out and all that stuff. Which is like, come on, man. I just don't like this idea that, he has his adrenaline only in PLEs or title matches. This is still the King of the Ring. This is the King of the Ring tournament. This is what's going to guarantee his spot at SummerSlam for the world title match. You just had him straight up yap for like 3 minutes about how he needs to finish his story. I'm going to finish my story. I need to finish my story. I'm the only guy that hasn't won the championship. I need to finish my story. You had him talk all that stuff, and then he just went down for one RKO? Like, that's it. That's the adrenaline he had after cutting that big promo. Like, get out of here, man. This makes no sense. Especially with the delay I talked about, dude. Randy Orton didn't even go for the pin, as soon as he hit the RKO. He took his time. He took like a solid 3 seconds to get to the pin. And I thought they were doing that to, protect RKO a bit, to protect the finisher. So maybe Sami Zayn is going to kick out. But no, he was just laying there as comfortably as he possibly could, and he was just looking up at the lights for a 3 count. Are you kidding me, man? Get out of here. So yeah, this was just all around stupid and a bad booking decision in my opinion. You could have given Sami Zayn the W here, and you could have done Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes at King of the Ring, as the finals. And it would have been unpredictable, because it's like, oh, Cody Rhodes might lose, because, they might do some adversity to, get to John Cena and all that stuff. Or maybe he just wins straight up. Because, Sammy Gunther is a pretty big possibility of happening, and you could have had Sami Zayn be the first guy ever to pin Cody Rhodes clean, fair and square. He could have punched his ticket to SummerSlam, he could have beat Gunther again, and he could have won the World Heavyweight Championship finally. And, Randy Orton, his feud with Cody Rhodes would be saved for later, so that we can do an actual rivalry, a legitimate feud, instead of this one-off that's not going to mean anything in, 2 months, maybe. But no, guys, no, let's do Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, which is a big dream match, but we're just throwing it away as a one-off in King of the Ring in Saudi Arabia of all places, in a D-tier PLE, while Sami Zayn's gonna go back to feuding with Karrion Kross! Wow, dude, let's just move on! Anyways, then we see Nia Jax, and it's like, come on, man. We just saw that garbage segment with 4 of those guys. And, we just saw Sami Zayn lose to Randy Orton. And now Randy Orton's going to be going to the finals of the King of the Ring. And now we're going to be getting a big-time dream match with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton as a one-off for King of the Ring, as the finals, which is obviously such a big waste. And now, obviously Cody Rhodes is going to win. We know that for sure, which is such a dumb way of booking Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for SummerSlam. Whatever, man. I'm still ranting about this, dude. I'm not over it. I'm still not over it. Sami Zayn should have won that match. Period. But yeah, then we see Nia Jax, and it's like, wow, dude, I just watched that garbage, and now I gotta watch Nia Jax. And worst of all, I gotta watch her cut a promo, because she picks up the mic. God damn it, dude, stop! Stop the torture! Anyways, yeah, man, I don't even remember what Nia Jax really says. She's like, Tiffany, I am going to be coming back for my title that I shouldn't have ever lost, because you betrayed me. I gave you the opportunity of a lifetime, and you betrayed me, and you took my title. Anyways, then we see Tiffany Stratton, and she's like, Nia, you're like that ex that just never leaves me alone. Is that so? Is that so, Tiffany? Well, guess what, Tiffany? You're like that one jobber that just keeps getting TV time for some reason. So get out of here. Tiffany Stratton sucks on the mic, man. Let's just get that out of the way. I say this almost every single week. I'm going to say it again. Tiffany Stratton absolutely sucks on the mic. One of the worst promos on SmackDown. Penta is better on the mic, dude, than Tiffany Stratton. Let that sink in. So anyways, Tiffany Stratton says, Nia, you really won that title match? Well, lucky for you. I talked to Nick Aldis, and next week, we're going to have a last woman standing match for this championship. Like, why? Why? Who cares about this, man? This is literally Gunther versus Jay, but, the female equivalent. Nobody wants to see this, but WWE keeps doing it for some goddamn reason. Do they seriously not have anybody else on the roster? Get out of here, man. Now I know some of y'all are going to say, oh, it's going to be different though. It's a last woman standing. I don't care. None of their promos have been any good. They've all been butt cheeks. None of the matches have been, remotely above average. They've all been below average. I don't care what anybody says. People just gas up everything Nia Jax does for some reason. She does something average, even average, and people gas it up like it's the best thing in the world. Like, oh my God, Nia Jax is so, shut up. She sucks. Nia Jax sucks. None of her matches are good. So anyways, yeah, then Tiffany Stratton gets in the ring, and she gets attacked by Nia Jax, and, she goes to pick up a steel chair or something, or, maybe she was arguing with the, commentators, Nia Jax, and then we see Naomi, she tries to cash in on, Tiffany Stratton, but, Nia Jax stops her, because, she wants to be the one that, beats Tiffany Stratton for the title. And from behind, off the distraction, Trippy Strand, kicks Naomi from the back, and Naomi lands on Nia Jax. And that's about it. Tiffany Stratton stands tall. Whatever. Nobody cares about this. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Charlotte Flair versus Chelsea Green. I mean, it's like, I'll ask you guys the question, right? What do you guys think happened in this match? Yeah, you guys have the answer in your head, right? That's exactly what happened. But yeah, after Charlotte Flair wins the match, immediately after Piper Niven attacks Charlotte Flair, and the Secret Service attacks Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss arrives to the rescue, and that's pretty much it. Yay! Let's just move on. Anyways, then we hear taking it all. So the score. We see Sakoa, and he talks about like Jacob, I love you, Jacob. Come on out, you Jacob. I want to hear from you, Jacob. I'm willing to take you back in, all that stuff. And then we hear go, Fatu. And Jacob Fatu gets in the ring, and Sakoa starts talking about. He just starts his yap sesh, the usual Sakoa yap sesh. He's like, how could you do this to me, Jacob? We're family. We're supposed to look after each other. I'm willing to take you back in if you apologize to me and tell me that you love me. Which is why, let me say this first. I love you, Jacob. And then Jacob Fatu looks at Sakoa and he says, oh, you love me, Solo? Well, guess what? I think you're using me, Solo. Yeah, that's what I think. Let's just keep it 100. All you've been doing is using me. It's because I got the U.S. Championship. Yaramin Fatu. And I'm willing to fight you for this championship. Yaramin Fatu. Because I'm all gas and no brakes with it, brah. Yaramin. They're all the same thing. That's all this guy does. The problem is, whenever somebody figures out their catchphrase in WWE, they just keep saying that over and over and over and over and over again until that's all their promos are. That's the problem with everybody. Jey Uso, yeet. Jacob Fatu, Yaramin. That's all their promos are now. And because the crowd, because they're a bunch of NPCs, and they just repeat it and glaze the heck out of it, the wrestlers keep repeating it in their promos. But from a TV perspective, it's just repetitive as hell and it's stupid, man. Every single Jacob Fatu promo is the same thing. If you listen to one Jacob Fatu promo, you'll listen to every single one of them. Every single Jacob Fatu promo is the same thing. So anyways, yeah, when Jacob Fatu says that, Sakoa gets pissed and he goes to hit him with a Samoan spike, but Jacob catches him and he starts attacking Sakoa, but then from behind we see JC Mateo and they just 2-on-1 Jacob Fatu. But then we hear ooh, so I was born a king. We see Jimmy Uso and it's like, why, man? Just end this bloodline soap opera, man. I'm tired of it. I'm just sick and tired of it, man. So yeah, whatever. We see Jimmy Uso. He saves Jacob Fatu. And whatever, man. Who cares? Jacob Fatu stands tall, obviously, because he's all gas and no bricks for the brah. Yaramin. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Bron versus LA Knight. Yeah! And yeah, man, this was just nothing. Braun Breaker attacks LA Knight and ends the match in the DQ. And, LA Knight just, gets brutalized by both of them. That's pretty much it. I've already voiced my concerns about this whole rivalry. I said what I wanted to say. So let's just move on. There's really nothing more to talk about here. Now it's time for the main event. Ron Killings versus John Cena. Now here's the thing. This match wasn't anything crazy, but I mean that in the best way possible. This match did the job. We got what we needed. I need these kind of main events, I need main eventers, main eventing SmackDowns and Raws. I don't care if we get, a 5-star classic banger or whether it's a 2.5-star, stinker. I need main eventers, main eventing. I need main eventers wrestling. So the fact that John Cena was wrestling on SmackDown, I think that was awesome. This was just amazing, Obviously, the match ends in the DQ, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, obviously, but that was not the highlight, because then we see CM Punk, who arrives to the rescue to save Ron Killings. But then, obviously, with some good old classic John Cena shenanigans, John Cena stands tall. He puts him through a table. And obviously, we got to stop it in the Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah. And, John Cena gets up on the turnbuckle. He sits down. And as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, boy, I know what he's about to do. And Cena cuts one of the best promos in all of 2025. It was just amazing. It was a pipe bomb 2.0. Just awesome stuff, man. He says, CM Punk, while you lay there as uncomfortably as you possibly can, let me just get a few things off my chest. I don't hate you. I don't even dislike you. I definitely like you a lot more than every single locker room you've been to. So yeah, that was pretty funny. And that's just one of them, by the way. We're just getting started here, and John Cena already dropped such a great line. So yeah, there's that. And it's like, I'm not going to repeat this whole promo word for word. If you haven't checked it out already, you got to go check it out. Just amazing. I really love the callback to the pipe bomb. I think this is what the feud needed. I think this is what John Cena's heel run needed, dude. This is the kind of promo work we've been needing from Cena ever since he turned heel. Basically everything good old classic Cena was saying, but now as a heel, the heel version of all that. We needed that for so long, and now we finally got it. I still think this whole heel run with John Cena, it still sucks, and it's horrible, and this one promo is not going to save it. But if they do keep this up, it could be really good. But obviously, knowing WWE, they're not going to do that. I think they're just going to go back to stinking it up after this feud, after CM Punk and John Cena's feud. Obviously, it's because, CM Punk, John Cena, they're two wrestlers that always bring out the best in each other, That is such a beautiful thing to see, because these guys are my childhood goats. I grew up watching John Cena versus CM Punk. This is my childhood rivalry. When I was growing up around my household, you were either a John Cena guy or a CM Punk guy. I was the only kid watching, everybody else were like teens. So everybody was, team CM Punk. I was the only Cena guy around, And every single time I watched those two on TV, I absolutely loved it. But the thing was, every single time CM Punk was just straight up cooking John Cena, at least most of the times, in the ring and on the mic. Because, he was winning most of the matches. But now, to see the roles reversed, to see Cena acting all bratty and, like the villain, like the rebel and all that stuff, like he's going to leave the WWE with a championship. And now CM Punk is a good guy. He's standing up for the company and all that stuff. It's just great. I love this, man. I absolutely love it. Obviously, I think because Triple H sucks and WWE sucks right now, it's not up to the mark. It's not as good as I thought it would be. But it's still really good because of the two guys involved who bring out the best in each other. I still think John Cena's kind of washed and he hasn't really done anything good in 2025. But because it's CM Punk, because it's someone who's always brought out the best in Cena, like Elimination Chamber, for example, John Cena in 2025, every single match has kind of been, it's been mid, let's be honest here. But with CM Punk at Elimination Chamber, he put on what might actually be the best, match, if you can even call it that, in my personal opinion. I really love the whole sequence of, CM Punk and John Cena we got at the Elimination Chamber. These two always bring out the best in each other, and it's just amazing to watch. So yeah, even though this might be short term, because we're gonna go back to Cody Rhodes and John Cena's stinker of a feud after this whole Night of Champions thing. So yeah, that's pretty sad, but I'm gonna try to enjoy this while I can. This is my childhood right here, so this is just special to me. And I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about how terrible the show was after watching this. This was such a godly segment, man. Just amazing, awesome stuff. Wow, dude, just wow, dude, just wow. Claudio Castagnoli was mentioned, Nick Nemeth was mentioned, Matt Cardona was mentioned. Damn, dude, this was awesome. Might be recency bias, but might actually be one of my favorite promos of all time. So yeah, there's that. And that is it for tonight's Friday Night SmackDown. Amazing way to close out the show, but the rest of the show was just straight up butt cheeks, and nothing's gonna change that. So I'm gonna give this show like a 4 out of 10. Obviously not the worst show ever, and I think it's mostly because of the ending, but everything else just pure butt cheeks. Anyways, guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.